I want to give a quick shout out to Greek Glasses out of Los Angeles. Use my code, will be in the description box. Get 40% off on anything off the website. I chose to get some pink aviators. But for you, my friends, my family, 40% off if you use my code. Click in the link below. Okay guys, thank you for joining Regina's World again. Today is going to be another story time. Because I destroyed the footage that I had today. Today was a family outing day of me and the kids out at the Family Fun Center. And as I was editing the video, trying to add the music, it needed some more space. So I'm trying to clear out space and end up deleting everything on my phone. So I lost all of my footage of the day, but I did not want to leave you guys empty-handed without getting your weekly dose of my world. So I'm doing a story time. So today I'm going to talk about what it was like growing up in an abusive household. Now, from as far back as I can remember, my family was I was raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I ended up moving here to Las Vegas when I was 18. But back home, like most black Americans, we're raised in a hood, either one parent household. One of the children in the household sell drugs to help mom or whatever. And my mom was raising 5 children, 3 girls and 2 boys, and I was the youngest. So my mama was gone most of the time. She worked one job back home, minimum wage. If I'm correct, minimum wage back home was maybe $7, and I think my mom, honestly, I don't know how much my mom was making back then, but I know minimum wage can't be no more than $7 back home. But she worked at a chocolate factory, at the Hershey's chocolate factory. We did have a house. We had everything that we needed in cycles. So at one point, either the electric was on and the gas was off, or the gas was on and the electric was off, or something, Nothing was on at the same time, But we had a car, we had everything, but we grew up kind of rough. It was tough until my mother met her husband. And then she moved her husband in, and then financially our life changed because there was a 2-parent household, now 2-income household. But it changed for the worse because we was introduced to abuse. So my stepfather, I think when he moved in, I was like 8 or 9 maybe. When he moved out, when they divorced and they finally separated, I was a teenager. I think I maybe was 17 or something. So for a few years, many years, we woke up to them fighting. We went to sleep to them fighting. We woke up to him beating my mama. I can't even remember half the stuff. Like it's just kind of a blur. Like it's scenes of things that happen. So I'll give you a story. So I don't remember why, but I just remember coming home. I was at the scene every other Friday when my stepfather, he'd go get drunk. And when he'd go get drunk, he'd come home and he'd get abusive to my mother. So this was a Friday just like no different other Friday that he comes home and he's acting a fool. And then they got into a fight. So it's my mother and my stepfather's fighting. Me and my sister is home. And we call my other brothers to tell them that he's beating on my mother. And they come home, both of my brothers. One was a Blood, one was a Crip. And they jump into the fight. And they jump my stepfather. And me and my other sister screaming because the violence is happening. And we wanted it all to stop. But, my mother is fighting him. My brothers is jumping him. One of my brother Maurice, he is the blood. So he used to, in high school, he used to be a wood. He took wood shop, so he used to make all these wood things and hang them all in his room. And he took one and broke it over my stepfather's head. And then my mother grabbed this glass bowl and broke it over my stepfather's head. But she thought she broke it over my stepfather's head, but she actually broke it over my oldest brother's head and knocked him completely out, which made my other brother mad because he thought my stepfather knocked him out, but he didn't know. He started cursing him out like, "Get your bitch ass up, get your bitch ass up." You know, it was just a whole mess. And then the police is called as usual. They escort my stepfather out. Back home, domestic violence isn't as like here in Nevada. In Nevada, domestic violence is taken very seriously. Like that's one of the number one charges out here outside of DUIs is domestic violence. So if a police is called out here, somebody's going to jail. Somebody is going to jail. But back home, they don't take you to jail for domestic violence. They just tell you to leave the house and cool off and come back tomorrow. That's the only thing they do. So that's what they used to do to my stepfather. Anytime this stuff happened, he never went to jail for it. They just told him to go away for the night, let everything cool down, come back tomorrow and speak to your wife or whatever. So stuff like that used to happen all the time. And then my brothers got tired over maybe like a year or so. They got tired of coming to my mother's defense because my mother just kept taking him back. Even though they wanted him to just leave him, why are you steady dealing with this? Why are you steady taking him back over and over and over and expecting us to come to your rescue? So eventually they stopped coming. They moved away. My oldest brother moved away to his girlfriend. My other brother Maurice, he moved away to my godmother's house, and he didn't come back. Her relationship with her children began to sour. They all chose to leave. My oldest sister left. She ended up moving in with her boyfriend, and she didn't come back anymore because she was the one, after my brothers moved away and was the one that used to protect my mother. My sister was the one who was left to protect my mother from my stepfather, but she eventually got tired of protecting my mother as well, so she left. And then it was just me and my other sister, and my other sister is a year and a half older than I am. And then she never got like physically involved with fighting with my stepfather, but she was just like, I'm not finna deal with this either. So she ended up moving in with my godmother where my brother was, and they were in Kirkwood. I had the opportunity to move in with them as well, but there was no way he was finna let me leave my mother. All of her children have pretty much disowned her because of the choices she made to stay with my stepfather. I just didn't feel right to move away from my mother when she'd be left alone with this man. Even though I was young, there was nothing I could do. Even if he killed her, there was nothing I could do to prevent anything. But I just didn't feel right as her child to leave her with somebody who physically can take her from us, and we would not know because we're living a whole nother life in somebody else's home, and what she got going on is none of my business. I just could not leave my mother, so I did not. So I stayed there with her through thick and thin. No matter how many times they fought, I would just go into the room and then just ignore it like it's not happening, and come back out and wipe the blood off her face and tell her mom it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, and let her cry and let her be mad. And if she want to be mad at me, I'll let her be mad at me and take it out on me and do all that. But I never left her. I was there with her until she made a decision for herself. And the day she made the decision for herself was I was in the living room watching TV, and I don't know what they was fighting about. It became my new normal after a while. And they end up coming into the living room, and I don't remember what happened or why, but I remember him pushing her out of our front room window. True story. She went flying out of our front room window. And he was so high and drunk. My sister said he used to do cocaine as well, so it was possible that he probably was high off coke. But I ran outside to my mother, and we had a neighbor called Miss Virgie across the street. She was like my mother's godmother or whatever. She used to really look out for us. And then she came across the street. She saw it happening. My mother's all cut up and bloody up, and I knelt down to my mother in the yard, because we had this big old front yard. I knelt down to her in the yard, and I said, Mom, this man is going to kill you. At some point, you have to leave Sylvester. Sylvester was his name. At some point, you have to say, enough is enough. And I think I maybe was like 12 or 13 when I said this to my mother. I said, at some point, you have to say, enough is enough. And I helped my mother up. And I went to the emergency room and got all patched up. And when we came home, and my son Sylvester was there, and my mother said, you have to go. And she kicked him out, and he just knew, yeah, I'll leave, bitch, So he was going to come back. My mother, at that very moment, made a decision. You're not coming back. My relationship with my children have been ruined. You damn finna kill me. I have got beaten. I have been depressed. I have been down and out. My mother did. My brother was a minister. So, at a church called House of Prayer in St. Louis. So my mother reached out to my brother and let my brother know, I'm ready to change my life. I left Sylvester. So, my mama started going to the church. My mama gave her life back to the Lord. That's what really gave her the strength to stay away from my stepfather. She gave her life to the Lord and said, I am done with my husband. That is the last time he is going to put his hands on me. That is the last time he is going to abuse me. And that was the most beautiful thing that I could have asked for, was for my mother to give her life over to the Lord and walk away from such abusive men. Because she gave me the strength to know I didn't have to be in that kind of relationship. Fast forward, ended up being in that relationship many years later myself, but that's a whole nother story time video. But right now this is about my mother. But that was the most beautiful thing that she could have done, was decide for herself. The best thing for herself and her children and her life is to walk away from that man who has abused you, who's talked down to you, who's degraded you, who's disrespected you. No woman should be treated like that. You are a queen, and you have the power to say, I deserve better than you. And she left him. And when she passed away, he didn't even know she passed away. He came to our house one day looking for my mother, and we told him that she died, and he broke down on the front porch because he was so hurt. I treated your mother like this for so many years, and now she's dead. And a year later, he died of depression. He died. A year later, he died. And my sister, the one who hated him the most, my sister hated that man. She actually went and watched him die. She was by his bedside and watch him take his last breath. But the whole time he was with my mama, she hated his guts. But when he was dying, she was right there by his bedside and told him it's okay, you can take your last breath, because he didn't have anybody else to be there with him. My mother died peacefully, even though she died from breast cancer. She gave her life to the Lord, so we did not have any worries in her afterlife where she would be. She is resting peacefully. Rest in peace, Eva. But she went through many years of abuse by the hands of her husband. So the moral of this story is, women out there, beautiful women, if you're in a relationship that a man is beating you, I know it may feel like, you're stuck, you're trapped. Many reasons that a woman stay. But the one thing that you have is power. And that power is to get yourself up and walk away. You don't have to be there. You don't have to settle. You don't have to allow this to continue to happen. You make the choice for yourself. Do you want to continue to live like this? Because you don't have to. So I hope you enjoyed my story time today. Tomorrow I'm going to try to vlog again and start again. I'm going to church in the morning, and then I'm going to get my nails done, and then I'm going to take my son shoe shopping. So I'll let you guys follow me with that vlog, but I apologize for the vlog today of the deleting the footage. I'm very disappointed in myself, but in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel to get many other story times and many other footage of me and my family enjoying life together here in Las Vegas. Okay, see you in the next vlog. Peace.